Although I believe Hillary Clinton unfortunately ended up being the biggest winner of this debate, I would argue that Bernie Sanders wasn't necessarily the biggest loser. The biggest loser was definitely MSNBC. And if you don't believe me, I have a few video clips to show you just how biased this town hall coverage really was. So I'm going to start off with video number one. This is a video where Chuck Todd was talking to Bernie Sanders specifically about Donald Trump and some of his rhetoric and some of the accusations that Donald Trump has launched toward Bernie Sanders because of his rally being shut down in Chicago. Take a look at how he handled this.
But with Trump, what you are dealing with, and I say this without any joy, this guy's a pathological liar.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is...
That's almost a clinical...
well, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Politico had a piece today in the paper. They say it's very hard to fact-check him because he never has any facts. He just...
And here's what's got to be uncomfortable, because on a couple of issues, and they're not small issues, particularly here in Ohio, you and Donald Trump share the same position, for instance, on trade. And I've gone to your rallies and I've gone to his rallies. And when you ask him, well, if not Trump or if not Sanders, I'm not saying a majority of your supporters or a majority of his, but you hear Trump supporters say, hey, I like what I hear from Bernie Sanders. Or you hear Sanders supporters saying, I like what I hear from Trump. Well, it's interesting. If she's the nominee against Donald Trump, he is closer to you on trade than she is. Well, you've talked about your campaign as a revolution. The turnout excitement is happening on the Republican side. Hasn't happened on the Democrat. We haven't seen the high turnout numbers that you have wanted. I guess I go back to, you have never supported a trade agreement that we've had yet.
I think the African trade.
But there hasn't been one that you've been able to sign on to.
That's right. And you know what? I was right.
Is there any one that can ever be drawn up?
Of course there is. Of course there is.
Then why hasn't it happened?
Why hasn't it happened? Because that's the broader issue.
Why hasn't Barack Obama been able to do it?
Well, Barack Obama and I love the president. He and I have worked together on many, many issues. He's wrong on the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Was he wrong on the Korea deal? Was he wrong on
Yes, he was, as a matter of fact.
You realize Secretary Clinton hits you for being a one-issue candidate because you take any issue and you do bring it back.
Well, let me tell you
to essentially Wall Street.
If you heard, as I'm sure you have.
Campaign. What do you tell her?
What I tell you, if you go to my speeches, there are an hour and 15 minutes. And maybe the one issue is my concern about the disappearance of the American middle class and the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality, where Chuck,
but you do believe that singularly it is special interests that are at the root of all of these problems.
Do I believe that in this great country, our United States Congress is dominated by Wall Street and big money interests who have huge influence over the political process? Of course I do. I don't think that that is in doubt. You got to not know anything about what goes on not to understand that.
So a lot of tough questions aimed at Bernie, which I wouldn't have a problem with if you had the same treatment toward Hillary. But again, watch the first 15 minutes of Hillary's portion of the town hall, and she's asked questions like, don't you think Trump is, really a bad guy? Like, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but that's what the tone of the questioning was. It was very simple, hardballs. And, Hillary Clinton can sit back and talk about how loving she is and how much she likes to look out for the people, and it goes unchallenged. Very vague, broad, general statements. And it helps her. So I think that MSNBC failed in this. And the number one fail, honestly, was Chris Matthews, a Hillary supporter, moderating her portion of the town hall. Unacceptable.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. It just seems weird to me that Chuck Todd, I understand Chris Matthews in the tank for Hillary Clinton, and the only time he's going to seem tough on her is when he's want to cover his own ass about the Iraq War. But Chuck Todd, it's just like, are you, when you do your journalism, when you do your news covering, are you covering another country and then you come back here to interview our candidates? Because it doesn't seem like you have any idea about what's going on in our politics here in America. You don't understand that what's wrong with it. You don't understand what's broken. You don't understand who influences our politics. You don't understand what the underlying problem is in our economy and our politics right now. You don't understand what Bernie Sanders has been talking about for the last 10 months. It's like it's all news to you, and it's like a Rubik's Cube. It's like you're thinking somebody controls our government. What? You think big donors are the problem? You think money? But Barack Obama takes money. How could there possibly be a problem? It's like this is all blowing Chuck Todd's mind, that this problem that has been clearly delineated by many, many, many people, all right, including most recently Ashton Edelman, who was the get-go on Wall Street. He was the guy they based that movie on. And he's the one who also said that. Chuck Todd, what? I don't know. What are you talking about? I don't know what's going on. Bernie, this is all Greek to me. What are you saying? Money in politics is a problem? That there's people who own our politics? I just don't get it. All of them? Even Barack Obama? Really? Because I haven't heard this. I'm just Chuck Todd, the host of Meet the Press.